Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. I am excited to be here with a more traditional update where we get back to headlines versus processes. Those will be taken care of in your department updates going forward. So here we go. I wanted to make sure that I reminded each of you to continue to focus on educating owners of the risks of kennel cough. Just because we said back off, I just meant we don't need to put signs or posters up anywhere or worry about so much warning pet owners right when they arrive for boarding and it's a little bit late for them to do anything. But we still should be educating on the front end. I think each department kind of has a touch in this to bring the whole thing together. So in the exam room, within the hospital, when we're vaccinating pets, it's a good idea to be talking about the risks of boarding pets in a condensed space with other pets, mostly viral disease, and mentioning kennel cough, and also educating that although a vaccine is great for prevention, that it is not an exclusive preventative. It doesn't mean that their pet is not going to have exposure and risk to some of these diseases or infections. So just making sure that we do a good job educating there, mostly in that realm. I'm talking to doctors and I'm talking to nurses who are recommending these vaccinations and who really have the owner's trust in the way of healthcare at that moment. For my customer care team, I think that this education happens right when you're booking the appointment to say, hey, I see that your pet is vaccinated. I did just want to mention that, sometimes pets who come here, they can cough for a number of reasons afterwards, and this is how we handle it. And then, of course, also utilizing a new process that we have where we had an email that we used to send, and then we also have a confirmation email. Today, we decided that we would go back to combining those efforts to where if we can trust you to educate a client when you're on the phone making a boarding reservation, then we would let an automated system happen to where when we send that confirmation email, a kind of warning of exposure email goes to the client as well. So in an ideal circumstance, this would be the third time that they've received that information. And then the last thing that we're going to implement that's new is including a disclaimer and a liability signature space on our boarding contract. So that would be the fourth time that they've been warned that their pet may be exposed to some of these things. We're still seeing some cases, although it's not as rampant as it was 2 years ago or even earlier in the summer, but it just reminds us to keep it on our radar, and also it reminds us of the sensitivity of the issue, that pet owners are really intimidated, they misunderstand it a lot of times, and they find it unfair if we don't do our due diligence the way that I just described it in educating them that this is a risk their pet has. It usually doesn't change anything on the end, but at least if they knew it was coming, they had an idea to adjust, they had a time period to adjust the idea rather. So I just wanted to make sure that we all remembered to keep that on our radar. And to understand that it's not just a summertime thing. Summertime we tend to see a little bit more because it's peak boarding time and things are so condensed in the resort and there are so many pets together. But really, it's a year-round thing. It's just as likely to happen on another peak season like Thanksgiving or during the holidays, but it also could happen anytime during the year. So as a reminder, it's our responsibility to educate. That's one thing that I really wanted to focus on. Next, to talk about some other things that we're working on bringing back into focus. For the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about phone answering. And although that's getting better, we said we were going to work towards something that was a more sustainable expectation of our team. Implementing the phone tree has been a great help, in my opinion, because we're able to designate avenues for clients to take for leaving us messages for prescription refills. This week, we're going to begin educating clients on also utilizing our phone app for refilling. So we will post the same video that we use to educate clients in Slack so that everyone on our team knows how to refill a prescription and what that process looks like for utilizing the app for that. But we still have this great influx of phone calls coming towards us, and it seems like no matter how much team we throw at that, we never really are able to keep up. We need, in other words, another avenue of calls to go, as well as adding more team. And it seems like a great deal of phone calls that we get that are the most time sensitive and that we tend to drop the ball with are calls for hospitalized patient updates, where maybe a pet owner is impatient with us and wants an update a little bit quicker than what we would be calling them to give. These are the situations that we're talking about. These are also the situations that tend to be neglected by side notes a little bit, and that nobody really takes ownership of. So we really want to put the ownership in the treatment room nurse's hands. I want to make sure that every treatment room nurse becomes comfortable within the next week of giving a pet owner an update and knowing what's appropriate to say. So that's going to be a project in itself. But we also need to put a phone in their hands to where we can get a live call from the call center to the treatment room nurse. So we have some cordless phones that are really unique. They actually attach to your hip. They're about the size of a walkie, and they come with a headpiece with an earpiece as well, so that you can use it like a phone that you hold up to your ear, or you can use it as the headpiece and the belt clip. And what can happen is a call can be transferred with an announcement kind of walkie style from the call center to the treatment room nurse, who can then get to a computer and accept the call at their pace. We'll also have a work list message system for if that can't happen in that live moment. But we're hoping that the majority of the time it can, and we'll watch that process unfold really appropriately to make sure that it happens. Basically, for the treatment room nurses, this cordless phone would replace the current walkie system. Each treatment room nurse that's working that day would get a cordless phone. So we'd have a series of them, and the treatment room nurses could use these cordless phones to communicate to one another as well. I'm really looking forward to having this unfold in the next week or so and make it better. We're doing some other things to address the issue as well, like working towards installing double monitor systems like the call centers and the front desk have in other areas for the nurses specifically, so that we can leave side notes open but still utilize a screen without closing them out, and utilize specifically the office chat feature in side notes, which works a little bit more like a chat room instead of individual box messages. What this would do, if we were able to get back to utilizing this, is it lets you see a group response versus individual responses. So, as an example, if I send a side note out right now and I choose 5 different places to send it, if somebody responds, only I'm going to see the response from one of the 5 locations. The other 4 locations won't see the response. So the office chat feature would allow us to see this. So I can say, does anybody have the ability to answer line 701 question about whatever? Somebody could say, yes, I got it. And the rest of the group would know that that had been responded to and they didn't have to respond. I feel like these small little things that we're working towards doing will help to increase our efficiency. And so you'll see us putting those things into play. SmartFlow is going live on August 5th. We bumped this date back because we have some team members who aren't quite prepared, as well as we had one little tweak in the system that we wanted to make. So we just generously bumped it back the 2 weeks. This will be replacing Whiteboard, and this is a big change for the hospital. So I hope everybody's patient during this adjustment time. I think it's a great move for us, and we'll be making several other little software switches coming up too, all in efforts to increase our efficiency to respond to our clients and patient needs a little bit quicker. It's just pretty condensed in the next 6 weeks that we're going to have these things happening. Also in the next 6 weeks, we're going to be changing our cremation submission system. That'll be a new software. We're excited about that. It's going to go to a new company, so we won't be using Faithful Friends anymore, but instead we'll be using a company called Aggie's Pet Cremation. They're owned by a greater company called Gateway, who offers so many benefits that it was hard to not choose. Basically, any employee will get free cremation. We will have a portal that that allows clients to select specific urns that they'd prefer to have, so they don't have to change ashes over on their own. Engraving is an option. There's just a lot of great things that will be coming their way. We can't wait to share that with you. Instead of doing an update with all the benefits, we're going to have individual trainings for you with the company set up. So they'll come here and each person will get an opportunity to go hear about the benefits, how to work it, and have their individual questions answered. That's probably coming the second week in August. Just following that, we're going to be transitioning the way that we take patient histories in the exam room to be much more efficient, and basically just kind of rearranging responsibilities of the customer care team and the nurses and the doctors to make that flow a little bit smoother. Our overall goal, I have to say, this is the goal today, and it will be the goal at the end of the month in August and going forward. When we have a patient on the schedule for an allotted appointment time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that means that's the maximum amount of time that we allow for them to be in the exam room. And oftentimes we're exceeding that by almost 100% extra time. So we really want to start paring that down, and this is one way that we're going to do it. I'd ask everybody to really be ready to buckle down and make this change. It'll probably be very difficult for some. It's a definite habit change, but it's something that we feel really passionately about. There's some other things that'll be happening intra-nursing department for that. So look out for those changes to come and for you to hear about them from your department update. Then the next big thing that we have, I kind of mentioned last week, is September 10th. We're changing over all of our hardware. So that'll be another obstacle that we'll kind of face, but will ultimately make things more efficient. Just kind of still playing whack-a-mole on some issues right now as they pass forward. If you have something in your department that you feel like is an inefficiency or you feel like is a struggle for you, we want to know about it. Everything off of this sheet that I read today is as a result of a team member mentioning, hey, when I do my task, when I go to take care of a client in this way, this is what's happening. Or I have clients who are frustrated because we're unable to do insert thing here. Everything that we're doing is in response to those kind of things. So keep them coming. We're really buckling down to try and do all these things at once so that we can see if it makes a difference. So we're really resetting ourselves in the month of August. We'll probably measure in the months of September and then go at it again in October. When we said that we wanted to perfect our processes this year and focus on us, this is how we're doing it. So keep it up. Thank you for all your extra hard work, and thank you especially for your feedback. It's obviously making a difference. All right, y'all, that's what I had for this week. If you have questions, hit me up. I'd love to hear from you. Take care.